What's on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. I hope you're having absolutely wonderful news. We have some breaking, very bad news for Kamala Harris, as she has now been, it has been revealed that the book she wrote was plagiarized. And JD Vance and Donald Trump immediately pounce on that. In other desperation moves, she has now agreed to do a interview on Fox News, which I wonder if they're going to bring this up. I wonder if they're going to have the cojones to bring this up. I wonder. I don't know. It's difficult to say because Fox is, I don't feel super confident in Fox. But by the way, I mentioned earlier that I had like 200 of these left, these Tailgates for Trump cookbooks that we're using to raise funds for the website and for the staff and stuff. Well, you already got them all. So I'm gonna print one more print run of them. So I think it'll be I'll open up a few hundred on the website. I just put the order in, so I'll update the quantities on the website. They're in domestic only though, US only. Because it costed me like $24 to ship international. I'm sorry. I know a lot of international people bought them the first time, which I paid for and I shipped, but I took a bath on it. Let's get into this story. Oh yeah, Coffee Brand Coffee fall flavors are out too, but that's neither here nor there. Since this news broke, you've seen a sharp drop in the betting markets for Kamala Harris and a sharp rise in the Trump. Now again, it's not massive. It's not even the peak. I think the peak of Trump was somewhere around just over 55%, but it's gone up basically a full point from 54. Now it's at the 54.9 to 44.5. So he now leads by 10.5 points in the betting markets. Again, that doesn't really matter that much, but I think a lot of this is coming from this brand new expose that sure would be a shame if you left a like on it. You shared it. JD Vance put out a tweet which has 60,000 likes in like 2 hours. Hi, I'm JD Vance. I wrote my own book, unlike Kamala Harris, who copied hers from Wikipedia. What? Now look, it's okay to borrow things here and there, like it's fine, especially when you're writing a school paper or whatever and you're just trying to like get through it. You're trying to just get through the dang thing and figure it out. But ultimately, this is not great for a presidential candidate. The vice president appears to have airlifted sections of her book, Smart on Crime. This is via the reporting of Christopher Rufo, so huge shout out to Chris. Definitely follow him on X. Kamala Harris has become famous in part for her unique rhetorical style. She switches freely between various accents and peppers her speeches with catchphrases pondering falling, quote, out of a coconut tree, discussing the significance of the passage of time, and moving the nation toward, quote, what can be unburdened by what has been. By the way, there is a recipe in here called Kamala's What Be Unburdened by What Has Been casserole, and it's absolutely hilarious and delicious, and it's in this cookbook, so, there's that. To her supporters, the vice president's rhetorical flourishes represent the values of her compassion and optimism. To her detractors, her reliance on platitudes and tautologies demonstrate her unfitness for the presidency. But as we've discovered in this exclusive report, another element appears to exist within the Kamala Harris's rhetorical inner universe, and that is plagiarism. Uh-oh. At the beginning of Harris's political career, in the run-up to her campaign to serve as California's Attorney General, she and co-author Joan O.C. Hamilton published a small volume entitled Smart on Crime, A Career Prosecutor's Plan to Make Us Safer. The book helped establish her credibility on criminal justice issues. I'm sure she'll just blame this on the other person, is what I'm assuming. However, according to Stefan Weber, a famed Austrian plagiarism hunter who has taken down politicians in the German-speaking world, Harris's book contains more than a dozen vicious plagiarism fragments. Some from passages he highlighted appeared to contain minor transgressions, reproducing small sections of text, insufficient paraphrasing, but others seem to reflect a more serious infraction, similar to the severities found in woke Harvard president Claudine Gay's doctoral thesis, which, by the way, led to her resigning in disgrace from her job. It seemed like a lot of these woke leftoids spent a lot of time plagiarizing stuff. I mean, that's all I can think of. Let's consider a selection of these excerpts from Harris's book, beginning with one in which Harris discusses high school graduation rates. Here, she lifted verbatim language from an uncited NBC News report with duplicated material marked in italics. In Detroit's public schools, only 25% of the students who enrolled in grade 9 graduated from high school, while 30.5% in Indianapolis and 34% received diplomas in Cleveland Municipal School District. Overall, about 70% of U.S. students graduated from public-private schools on time with a regular diploma, with 1.2 million students dropped out annually. Only about half of the students served by public school systems in the nation's largest cities received diplomas. I mean, that is, by the way, I think like it's fine to quote an article. Like, why wouldn't you? This is what the other woke weirdo did. They said, oh, it's just insufficient credit. I didn't give good enough credit where credit was due, kind of thing. And that's obviously baloney. You know, that's pure baloney sausage. You pass it off as your own. There's more. In another section of the book, Harris, without proper attribution, reproduced extensive sections from John Jay College of Criminal Justice press release. She and her co-author passed off the language as their own, copying multiple paragraphs virtually verbatim. Here's the excerpt, with the airlifted materials in italics and abbreviations such as percentages and state names treated as verbatim in substitution. So you have maybe 2 full paragraphs here. Again, it's 100% fine to like notate, right? It's 100% fine to quote something, take it exactly, put it in italics and say according to whatever. That seems fine, right? But when you're trying to establish credibility as somebody who knows what they're talking about, you don't do that. In a section about New York court program, Harris stole long passages directly from Wikipedia, long considered an unreliable source. She not only assumes the online encyclopedia's accuracy, but copies its language nearly verbatim without citing the source. Here is Harris's language with duplicated material in italics based on page it appeared in December 2008 before she published the book. Here's another, big paragraph, right? To make matters worse, in duplicating Wikipedia's language, Harris seems to have missed critical information and misstated a relevant detail. She claims in prose, identical to the online encyclopedia, that illegal vending was down 24% as a result of the court's policies. Early in the paragraph, Harris cites the Bureau of Justice Assistance report to substantiate that figure. But she made a mistake. On Wikipedia, the 24% apparently tied to a different report, of which that arrests for unlicensed vending rather than unlicensed vending as such fell by 24%. Her reliance on Wikipedia, an unreliable source, led to unreliable conclusions. As the BJA report was not proper source of the 24% claim, it did appear in the Wikipedia's entries list of citations that apparently was a fruitful resource for Harris and her co-author as they reproduced substantial portions of its sentences. Here's a passage in Harris's book with duplicated material from the report. Again, you can have these long paragraphs in there if that's what you want. There's no reason you can't have like a big long paragraph. Nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Like 100% totally fine to have a big long paragraph, and then as long as you are, attributing it to the proper person. Taken in total, there are certainly a breach of standards here. Harris and her co-author duplicated long passages nearly verbatim without proper citation and without quotation marks. The textbook definition of plagiarism. They not only lifted material from the source without proper attribution, but in at least one case relied on low-quality source, which potentially undermined the story and accuracy of their conclusion. Of course, Harris, like many other public figures, have relied entirely on ghostwriters to draft her book, but that's not exculpatory. Harris, at the end of the day, put her name on the cover. Meaning, if you use a ghostwriter and they plagiarized, it's not really an excuse. You have some responsibility is the argument here. To credit the research in and of itself. If you look at Christopher Rufo's post, by the way, Christopher Rufo has 35,000 likes and 6 million views since 10 a.m. this morning. And you can see Kamala Harris's passage, the Associated Press. So she took it word for word, right? In another section of the book, Harris without proper attribution. I mean, here, like graphically, if you want to look at it like, better. Again, also, Christopher Rufo does excellent work. So if you want to support him, subscribe. I think he does Substack. This is wild. In fairness, they should probably read Kamala Harris's ghostwriter plagiarized. I mean, I don't know. For somebody that grew up middle class. So this amounts to Trump hiring a more contentious ghostwriter who like most of his former partners, seem to now hate him. I mean, if Trump, had done this, they would have destroyed him for it. So the fact that, Trump didn't write his book, okay, does that mean it was it plagiarized, or is it that he didn't write it? That's the real question. Was it plagiarized, or was it because he didn't write it? Because I think those are two different things. And obviously the polls are going down for her. Now, her new latest desperate move, Bret Baier, to interview Kamala Harris in Pennsylvania on Wednesday. By the way, 6 p.m. Eastern, I will be live streaming it. So make sure you subscribe to Quartercast on YouTube, or you download the Rumble app and follow the Quartering over on Rumble. Rumble's the safest place to watch me because, especially when you're reacting to a show, YouTube likes to take stuff down, even though it qualifies for fair use. So she's going to go on Bret Baier, who averages 2.3 million viewers with 233,000 in the 25 to 54 age bracket. The outlet noted that more Democrats and independents tune in to the Fox News show than any other show in that time slot. What I'm hoping and praying for is that Fox News doesn't cuck out and, edit this down to make her not look like a total moron. I don't know if I can have that. I don't know if that expectation or that hope is reasonable, given a lot of what we've seen with Fox News, but it's going to be interesting to see. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it. If you haven't yet, subscribe or follow down below. We'll talk to you again real soon.